Well, finally, the Celtics come out and blow the doors off a team they should actually dominate. They did what they were supposed to do. And I'm going to talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Corrales above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Rainy J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, thank you for making the Locked On Celtics podcast your first listen every day. This is a Monday through Friday podcast, and I want to just thank you for making it part of your daily routine. The show, Locked On Celtics, is free. It's daily. It's available everywhere podcasts exist. You can watch the show on YouTube. You can get back episodes at LockedOnCeltics.com. I'm John Corrales. I cover the team for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a book called The Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars, which you can see behind me on the YouTube. And it's available for purchase on my website. It's everywhere. You can buy them online, but you can get a personalized signed copy for $30 on my website, johncorrales.com. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code NBA or go to your app store. Download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Boston Celtics blew a 60-point lead and only beat the Sacramento Kings by 53. Disappointing performance for the Boston Celtics at the TD Garden. But I guess we're just going to have to live with a 53-point win over the Sacramento Kings. I am just in shock that I'm not shocked that the Celtics blew out Sacramento. Being up by 60 in a game is jarring, to say the least, from both sides. I listened to Locked On Kings on my way home with Matt George, and he was a little less upbeat than I am. I guess it's understandable when your team shoots 29 of 95 and 6 of 33 from three. That's to be expected. The Celtics, meanwhile, shot 51 of 103. Oh, I love that 103 number. Getting up 103 shots. That's the pace I want to see the Celtics play at all the time. Let's get those shots up there. And then when you shoot almost 50% on those shots, that's amazing. 20 of 45 from three. That's how you get to 128. Only 6 of 7 from the line. But overall, just great. 32 assists. It was just a wonderful all-around game. The Celtics came out to a 14-4 run. And at that point, it's like, okay, they look pretty good. And they come out and they win the first quarter by like almost 20. But really the turning point in this game for me came at the end of the second quarter. This is when we knew, like, okay, this is serious. What's been the turning point for a lot of these games? Celtics up. This is not the first time the Celtics have been up big in the first half. Celtics have been up big against bad teams in the first half. 2:11 to go. The Celtics lead is 23. They had it up around 30. They kind of, meandering around. It was a little kind of sloppy. 2:11 to go. There's a timeout. The Celtics come out. They go on a 10-0 run. Marcus Smart is really pushing the ball. He's really pushing the action here. He's getting the Celtics to play at a different speed, play at a different pace after things had slowed down. They go on a 10-0 run to close the half. And then they open the third quarter with a 10-3 run. So at a point there when it's 23, to tell me you haven't seen this story before, like recently, the lead is 23 over that last 2:11. You expect the Celtics to go down a 10-0 run. That wouldn't be surprising at all for the Celtics to go into half and you say, it's still a 13-point game. It's not bad. And then they come out in the first quarter and they give up the 10-3 run. And like, oh, well, now all of a sudden it's single digit game and now it's anybody's game. That's how the Celtics have done things this season. For them to go on that 20-3 spanning the end of the second, beginning of the third it's big. again, it doesn't matter who they're playing against. It doesn't matter what they were trying to do or who they were playing or anything. The fact that they were able to get together to close that half strong and start the second half strong, huge. Ime Udoka said they're trying to push the ball into transition. They had 18 kick ahead passes, which is just getting the ball up the floor. And they had 18 kick ahead passes in the first half, which is the most they've had in a half this season. They were playing defense. They were getting the ball up. They were running. They were doing it mostly smoothly. They had a couple of turnovers. Marcus Smart had a turnover where he was trying to feed Al Horford and he pushed it just a little too far. That's a turnover that I'm actually okay with. When you're trying to run out in transition and you throw the ball just a little too far, timing's a little bit off, maybe he got held up, whatever it is, that's a turnover. You say, hey, you know what? It goes out of bounds. You can still come back, set your defense. That's fine. You know, you prefer obviously that it doesn't happen, but that's not something that is going to keep you up at night. It's the sloppy turnovers, the ones that the Sacramento Kings were committing when you try to make a simple entry pass and Dennis Schroeder just goes, boop, oh, I'll take that. Pitch it up ahead to Jayson Tatum for a dunk. Like he put no effort. He was playing defense and he just stuck his hand out a little bit further. He deflected it, stole it. That's the type of turnover that drives a coach nuts. The Kings were making a ton of those. They really looked bad. But that stretch there around the half was where this game really was solidified. This is a laugher. The Kings have nothing. The Celtics are on a roll, and the game was put away. The Celtics, the big story. I want to hit you in the first segment with the big story, and the big story is like, wow, they actually did like everything they were supposed to do. Everything. They defended well. They forced turnovers. When they got the turnovers, they ran out into transition. They got 3-pointers. Jayson Tatum, 36 points on 7 of 14 from 3, 14 of 23 overall. Jaylen Brown, 30 points, 11 of 19 shooting, 5 of 12. So Tatum shoots 50%. Jaylen shoots almost 42% from 3. Those are awesome numbers, right? The shots were falling, but they were also attacking. They were also passing the ball. Jayson Tatum had 6 assists. Jaylen Brown had 3 assists. Like that, to go along with 10 rebounds, by the way, double-double for Jaylen. The Celtics were effective in their transition. They were effective in their offense. They didn't get, like, Marcus Smart was playing great, got them set, got them where they're supposed to be, was great defensively. He only shot the ball 3 times. Marcus Smart scored 0 points and was in control, I think, offensively in the game. We even had a moment where Jayson Tatum in the second half inbounded the ball to Dennis Schroeder and kind of rolled it so Schroeder could kind of walk the dog like he usually did. And Schroeder just picked the ball up and started dribbling. And I was like, what? What is happening here? The Celtics are doing everything right. Schroeder isn't even walking the dog. What's going on? I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that they did it. And later on in the third segment, we'll dive a little deeper into turnaround or fake out, right? This is going to be the main question here. Turnaround or fake out for the Celtics right here. I'll spend time in the next segment talking more about the individuals here. But my big takeaway from here is we have now 2 games in a row, and this one is an especially great example of Celtics finally doing what they're supposed to do. What's one of their main criticism is, yeah, okay, you can beat some of these bad teams, but you're struggling to do it. At some point, you're going to have to lay the hammer down on them, and they did in this game. They actually laid the hammer down, come out on that 14-4 run, never let up in the first quarter. They didn't give up a run to the Kings at any point. Anytime the Kings might have tried to make a run, the Celtics answered. Certainly the Kings were complicit in this. This is not some big celebration of the Celtics being like awesome or anything like that. The Kings were god awful, but the Celtics did everything they were supposed to do. What more do you want from a team playing a team like the Kings who are in complete disarray? What more do you want? You had a 60-point lead. This is everything that you asked for from the Celtics. And it's confusing as all hell because where did this come from? I'll try to figure that out in the third segment. Let's come back. We'll talk about some of the individual performances here because there were some really good ones. First, let's talk about our friends over there at PrizePicks because they have this daily fantasy prop game that is really going to help you. Like, if you want to have some fun, maybe make a little bit of money, you head on over to PrizePicks because, first of all, they have this exclusive offer. Use the code NBA. You'll get $50 for free if anybody in your first PrizePicks entry scores a single point. So that's basically a given. It's almost impossible not to have that happen. So use the promo code NBA when you sign up at PrizePicks. $50 for free when you use that promo code NBA when your entry scores a single point. Great. So what is this thing? You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under projection. Could be anything. Assists, could be Tatum's points, could be Jaylen's rebounds, could be any of that stuff. 2 to 5 players, you make these picks in like 30 seconds. And you can mix teams. You could have picked Tatum's points and Harrison Barnes made shots. Take the under on Harrison Barnes made shots in that game. That can, like, the more you pick, the more money that you stand to win here. You can even cross sports. Football, if you're playing along with the playoffs, you can cross over into whoever's left and take one of the QBs with touchdowns and stuff like that. So they offer more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator. Offers all the superstar players, even the bench players you could have made picks on. Aaron Nesmith for sure. So head on over to PrizePicks.com. Go to your app store, download the app. Users that deposit and use the promo code NBA will get $50 for free. Right? $50 for free if your first PrizePick entry scores a single point. So that's all you got to do. NBA is the promo code. $50 free if your PrizePicks entry scores a single point. PrizePicks, it's daily fantasy made easy. Also, I have to talk to you about my good friends over at cracksauce.com. CRAIC sauce. CRAIC sauce. Made in Lowell by a Celtics season ticket holder. Local ingredients, local business, local employees. This is how you support. Let's support each other, right? These small businesses need a hand, and these local businesses need a hand. So that's the beginning of the pitch. But really, the heart of it is this stuff is amazing, awesome. I love it. I have a cupboard full of it that I use all the time. Hot sauce is usually you think about it as something that's just going to blow your face off. And that's great sometimes. But what crack sauce is versatile, multidimensional. It's not just a bottle of hot. It's flavor. They use 10 to 20 ingredients in each of these sauces, varying levels of heat, but the flavor is great with whatever you're cooking or whatever you're putting it on. You can enhance your takeout. You can enhance your leftovers, all of that stuff. Golden pumpkin, 40 shades, the Mill City Reds, more of the traditional stuff, the Louisiana style hot sauce. Brian Burroughs curry, which has a distinct flavor and it was really great. If you're making something like a stew or a shepherd's pie, it's great on that. So check them out, cracksauce.com, CRAIC sauce.com. The promo code is locked on. You're going to get 10% off crack products. So go check it out, cracksauce.com with the promo code locked on for 10% off. And once again, thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen. The NBA trade deadline is Thursday, February 10th at 3 o'clock. We know that. We're keeping a close eye on that. And I'm very excited to be covering it for the Locked On Podcast Network. We're doing it live from 2 to 4 o'clock. It's me. It's Kim Becker. It's Josh Lloyd of Locked On Fantasy Basketball. It's Antonio Daniels, former NBA veteran. We're going to analyze every blockbuster move. We expect it to be active. So subscribe to the Locked On NBA YouTube channel, turn on notifications so you know when the show goes live on trade deadline day. I hope to see you there. Individual performances. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown combined for 66 points. That's the sixth time in their career they've combined for 60-plus points. The Celtics have won all 6 games. There's been criticism this year that one of these guys can't play. They can't get hot together. They can't play with each other. Well, here you are. Celtics with Marcus Smart at the point, running a regular rotation out there, starting to see some level of normalcy. Jaylen, Jayson, again, the big thing with these two guys is they were able to attack. They weren't just doing my turn, your turn. They gave the ball up. One play in particular in transition, Jaylen Brown, in a play where a lot of times he might just take it on his own, gave it up to Marcus Smart. Smart drives. Again, it's like a 3-on-2. And it looks like he might be going for a floater, but he's actually leaving it back for Jaylen. Defender jumps. Jaylen gets an easy lay-in. Giving the ball up to get it back is one of the things that I just preach. I harp on that kind of stuff. The giving it up to get it back, the ball movement. It's simple. It's timeless basketball. It's not old school basketball. It's actually good basketball. There's nothing wrong with giving the ball up and having the defense kind of shift its focus. The tendency is for the eye to follow the ball. When you pass it, the defender all noticeably will go, whoa, I'm going to look this way. And then that gives you an opportunity to make a move. You have the advantage as the offensive player because you know what you're going to do. The defender doesn't. He has to anticipate. So when you give the ball up, that's why a lot of these give and goes work. Give the ball up and boom, go. Turn up the Jets. You know when that player turns his head or shifts his focus in the least bit, you have a half step at the very least on him. So the giving the ball up in the flow of the game, getting it back, I loved seeing it. It reinforces the lesson. It reinforces this notion of, yes, I can trust my teammates to give the ball back to me when I want to get when I need to give it up. It makes a player more willing to give it up. So these guys gave the ball up, but also made their individual moves. Certainly some ISO in there. Not saying that there wasn't, but much more in the flow of things, and the shots were falling. And so great performance from both of them. Robert Williams, I swear I saw a little bit of fear on the floor in the Kings when Rob was in the game. 2 blocks, 3 steals, 17 rebounds. 7 of those were offensive rebounds, 10 defensive rebounds. The key there is he was clearing away, finishing defensive possessions by getting the rebound and getting out to transition, and then putbacks, right? Alley-oops, those types of plays. Big performance. After the game, Jayson Tatum says, I just love when Rob plays. When you're driving in traffic and you got to kick out, you can just throw it to the sky and he'll catch it. Tatum, by the way, has hit Rob with some incredible passes lately. Incredible passes. And I think they've actually started to figure out how to throw alley-oops. 2 seasons ago, this team couldn't throw a damn alley-oop to save their lives. It seemed like they were trying to kill Robert Williams. Now they're actually getting it to the right place. He says, Tatum also said, you can pressure the ball a little bit more because you know if you get beat, he's back there protecting. He's just a lot more vocal now than in previous years. He's always active. So high praise there. And kind of guaranteeing, like, it's not a surprise that Brad Stevens suddenly considers Rob one of the three guys that is among the like future, right? Like Rob, when you get this kind of support from Tatum, like what are they going to do? They're going to trade Robert Williams when Tatum says stuff like this after the game? No, you want to keep Rob around. So that's as great a job protection as you're going to get. But Rob was very noticeable. His presence was felt whenever he was on the floor. When he was off the floor, the Kings felt a lot more comfortable getting to the rim. No doubt about it. When he was on the floor, all of a sudden you could see the arc changing. You could see them very aware of the type of impact that he had. So Rob was very, very important. Marcus Smart, plus 72 in each of in the 2 games back. Number 36 was plus 36 in each of the last 2 games. Didn't score in this game, but he had 7 assists. In fact, the score was 81-44, and he tried to take a charge. So the energy out there from Smart was really good. Like I said, in the second quarter, part of that second quarter change in energy was Smart just saying, okay, we're relaxing too much. Let's keep pushing the pace. And that's important. That's super important, because we've seen in the past where when Smart was out and Schroeder just kept slowly walking the ball up. In fact, Schroeder, at one point, the Celtics were up 40 and Schroeder was a -1. And he was on the floor for like that lull, that kind of back and forth with the Kings there in the second quarter. That's why he was a -1, because he played in the second quarter and the Celtics were losing that second quarter by 1 when he came out. And then all of a sudden at the end, boom, the Celtics went on that run. So Schroeder ended up with a +9. So it wasn't bad. He only played 16 minutes. By the way, I know I bust Schroeder a bunch here. I know my stance has been made. I expect him to be traded. He should be traded. But to his credit, early in the game, he's up, he's cheering, he's active, he's talking. So he might understand what's happening, but he's not letting it affect him. So I do want to say that it's nice to see. It's not like he's sitting there sulking and he's not whatever. Like, fit issues aside and style of play issues aside, he seems to be still fully engaged. So, but Smart was really good. I mean, for a guy that had 0 points and 7 assists, he was a plus 36 in just 23 and a half minutes. And then I just want to shout out to Aaron Nesmith and Peyton Pritchard. Just both went 4 of 8, mostly garbage time, but Aaron Nesmith out there doing some things. Hopefully they can earn a little bit more time. All right, that's it for the individual performances. I think that's all I need to mention. I'll come back. Let's talk about the big picture here. Is this a turnaround, or is it not a turnaround, or the beginning of a turnaround? We'll talk about that after we talk about Built Bar. Built Bar is going to help you break some of those bad habits from before the new year. You're trying to make good choices with Built Bar. Good choices with your diet. Built Bar can help, because candy bar that you're going to pick up is 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, dozens of net carbs. Built Bar is 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. Right? It's covered in 100% chocolate. It tastes delicious. It tastes just like a candy bar, but you can grab one of these and save yourself a whole lot of guilt. We know how it goes. I know how it goes. I have that feeling a lot. Built Bar is going to help. If you're looking for a protein bar after a workout, it's great because it's low calorie and high protein. It's not going to blow out your cardio. It's going to feed your muscles. If you're looking for a meal replacement, this can get you through breakfast. If you're looking to get a snack in the middle of the day, this is great because you have this, and it's not going to make you so hungry like you feel like you want to eat like 3 slices of pizza. If you have this as a snack, you probably have a more reasonable meal later. Go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, and here's the best part. You can use it every single time, get 15% off your order. So try as many different flavors as you want. You don't have to buy 10 boxes at a time. You'll probably end up buying 10 boxes once you find the flavor that you like. Built.com, promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your order. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. How about making Locked On Bets your second listen? Your boy Q, Lee Sterling, have some great advice if you're going to lay some money down at BetOnline. Make sure you're listening to Locked On Bets first. Maybe some of their advice can help you out when you're laying some money down. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. After the game, I have to mention the altercation between Marcus Smart and Deuce Tatum. Very vicious fight between Deuce and Marcus Smart. Deuce just hitting Marcus Smart repeatedly with shots to the jaw, shots to the body, just viciously attacking Smart. Smart fought back valiantly, landing body shot after body shot. Seemed to bounce off of Deuce. Deuce kept going at him, started kicking him. Very Muay Thai there. Just a massive beatdown at the hands of Deuce Tatum. After the game, I actually asked Jayson about that, and he just kind of blew it off, which just trying to have fun in the post game. I thought that was a kind of a fun moment. I like the fact that these guys are just like, Deuce is just pass them around. Be like, it's like Uncle Marcus and Uncle Jaylen, and they had a great time. I love, from my perch, depending on where in the media seating, because it changes a little bit from time to time, depending on who else is there and how many other media members are there. But I generally get a view of Deuce. Like, he spends a lot of first quarters just crushing a box of popcorn. And then you can see him having some fun, or sometimes he's not paying attention. Sometimes he's pointing to daddy out there on the floor. And sometimes Jayson is actually talking to him. And it's kind of a fun dynamic to see build on the floor. All right, let's get back to the game here. And the real question here is, once again, is this a sign of a turnaround, or is this just a couple of wins against bad teams? And I don't know what the answer is. I'm not arguing for either. It's hard. History this season tells you that we can't look at this as any turnaround yet. And I would never say 2 games against the Wizards and the Kings are a turnaround. However, the evidence is different this time. And this is why they suck you back in, because they came out strong against Washington, and they had a lull, but they closed strong in the second quarter and turned a close game, a single-digit game, into a 15-point game. In this game, they basically dominated from start to finish. Small little lull, but they didn't allow anything big to happen. The Celtics did what they're supposed to do. For once, we're talking about 2 games where the Celtics just kind of ho-hum did what they're supposed to do. And it's, like I said earlier, it's a little confusing, because you want to know, like, well, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, what does that mean? Like, where did that come from? Is it all just a reaction? Hey, we just got embarrassed by Portland. We got to really focus and buckle down. And then at some point here in the next 2-3 games against Atlanta, New Orleans, or Miami, that they will say, okay, all right, we're good now. And they'll go back to their old habits. I did ask Tatum about that, and he said, we do have to be aware that that's our tendency, so we don't do that moving forward. Hopefully they do. But the other side of it is, you're whole now. You got Smart. They very clearly have minimized Dennis Schroeder. Like, even in this game where it was a total blowout, Tatum still played 31 minutes. Jaylen played 24. Now they both sat the entire fourth quarter, but Schroeder played 16. Like, Aaron Nesmith played more than Schroeder. He played 16 minutes. Schroeder did. Ennis played 12. Pritchard and Langford played 9. Like, Schroeder played 7 minutes less than Grant Williams, 6 minutes less than Josh Richardson, 7 minutes less than Marcus Smart. I mean, he's really been minimized. And I think this is the sign of, like, the beginning of the end for him. But the Celtics are going with their regulars, their original starting lineup, and they have a certain rotation behind that. But this is the set group, and you're not going to rely too much on Romeo or Aaron or whatever. Like, they're going to rely on their vets to try and pull them out of this. And if this is the regular rotation and they start getting actual consistent minutes with these guys, then maybe this is part of a turnaround. Maybe this is part of a, look, they did what they're supposed to do against these 2 bad teams because they were able to have a regular point guard who set the offense and didn't dominate, didn't take too many shots, and is good defensively. They got this lead because they have Tatum and Brown not having to focus so much on creating for others that they still will create for others when they get double teamed. Jayson Tatum had a great find for Josh Richardson at the end of, I think it was the end of the first half. When they did the binoculars, I see you type of thing. Tatum can still make those plays, but it's almost like they were forced to make those plays so much. And now here's your point guard back and you can focus on other stuff. But when you have to make a play, you've gotten some reps doing that. Maybe having everybody healthy and you can play Rob and you can play Al and you can stagger those guys when you need to. And you do not have to rely on NSK freedom. And you don't have to rely on too many Schroeder minutes. And you can kind of mix and match certain guys. And hey, Romeo might help in this game, or Peyton might help in that game. Nesmith might help in this game. And you kind of mix and match those minutes. Maybe that level of consistency in the lineup can actually help deliver some consistency with the team. I say that all knowing full well that they can go into Atlanta and lose by 40. I understand that is entirely possible. So I can't sit here and say that this is indeed different. It feels different. It looks different. And it is different. I will say it is different, but I don't know that this difference is going to be like turn the season around different. It is different for sure. There's no doubt that it's different, but is it different to the point of different that like this is the turnaround different versus this is just a new way to suck us in and, completely pull out the rug from underneath us different, right? Is this just a different way to set up a disappointment versus, oh, this is an actual turnaround. Let's whip off, 4 or 5 straight wins. Celtics are still in position where they can make a move, and they play Atlanta on Friday and New Orleans on Saturday, and they come home and they face Miami. The Celtics are in 9th. They're 25-24 in a virtual tie with the Toronto Raptors. They are a game and a half behind Charlotte in 7th. It's tough for them to make up the difference to get up to Philly. Philly just won again. They beat New Orleans in this game. So on this night. So it's going to be tough for the Celtics to get out of the play-in, but you just never know how the rest of the season is going to go. The Celtics are now 25-24. That's 49 games. The next game is the 50th game of the season. 50 already. So they're running out of time. We went from, oh, there's plenty of time to, oh man, they're running out of time. We'll talk about it. The Celtics are practicing on Wednesday, so I will be talking to them after practice, and then going from there, I'll have something to write about and something to talk about for tomorrow's show, and then we'll wrap up the week. We'll figure out how to wrap up the week. So it's a Monday through Friday show. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it and make it part of your day, your everyday Monday through Friday routine, and make it your first listen every day. Would love to have you making this show your first listen every day. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you are a YouTube watcher, really appreciate that. Subscribe so you can get the shows once they drop. Some days where there is nothing going on and it's not a postgame shows are late. I'm recording this one at 2:15 a.m. Sometimes they're later than that, but generally I will also, like on days where other stuff hasn't happened, I'll try to premiere the show on YouTube around 11 or 12 midnight. And there's a live chat that goes along with that. So you can kind of watch the show with me after I've recorded it and chat along with me. So it's another reason to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So do that. And if you are a subscriber, please share the podcast. Tell your friends, tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network.